Welcome to Airplay Escape. Unlock the full audiobook experience and exclusive perks by joining our Patreon community. Dive deeper into the stories you love. Just click the link in the description below, and thank you for supporting this journey. Hokage, Naruto's dark side unleashed by Blackened personality. Episode 41. The idea of becoming a consortium is very simple. It is to make an organization that can fight with the Woodleaf. It is too cheap to let them out easily. He wants to make Ape Flying Sun and Woodleaf into Sandy Village, even worse. Otherwise, it is just a simple knife to cut to death. His painful memories will not agree. It is to make it to become poverty and make the high power low, so that it can be considered revenge. Moreover, he also has the ability to quickly cultivate his strength. After all, you ain't do anything, do you do everything? Dazana's cabin. Sasuke, who was unconscious for a day and one night, finally woke up. He did not have the excitement of his life on his face, but calmed his face. There is consciousness. It seems that the guy really didn't want to kill us. During the coma, Sasuke dreamed of Uchiha Itachi and the night that had experienced several times. So he is in a bad mood now, and he is quite dissatisfied with his growth rate. Unfortunately, he has no growth rate like wind deficiency, otherwise it is estimated that it will be reported in 2 months. Dang dang. The sound of the iron basin sounded. Sakura ran to Sasuke's body with crying, "Great Sasuke, this is all day and night, you finally wake up." Because Sasuke helped resist a large number of thousands of stitches, Sakura's injuries should be much lighter, so I woke up early. What happened after we were in a coma, and teacher Kakashi, and Naruto? Sasuke turned his head and looked around. In addition to Sakura, there was only a little ghost hiding behind the door seam. Who is the little ghost hiding behind the door? That's the grandson of Uncle Dazna. After Sakura introduced a sentence, then answered Sasuke's previous question. After we were in a coma, Fengxu came out to kill all the enemies. I heard teacher Kakashi said that this time the wind deficiency used 3 tails, and the ground made a 100-meter large pit. After hearing a large pit of hundreds of meters, Sasuke's pupils shrank, and his face was even more ugly. But thinking of Naruto's hinders, Sasuke's face was barely good-looking. Sakura did not notice it, and continued to preach. After the war, Kado appeared, and with a group of ornamental and Joren wanted to pick up cheap. Then he was killed by Mr. Kakashi's helmet and armor, and hid back to the old nest. Because it did not completely solve Kado, teacher Kakashi protected Uncle Dazner to build a cross-sea bridge. As for Naruto, no, it should be Fengxu. He went to the market to go shopping. When it comes to shopping in the market, Sakura's face is quite concerned. After this battle, Fengxu did not go back, and Naruto did not come out to control the body. Although Sakura's heart is more hoped, the cool and strong wind, staying outside. But Naruto's abnormality is really worrying. Naruto didn't come out to recontrol his body? Recalling yesterday's incident, Sasuke roughly guessed what. He glanced at Sakura a little bit, and moved his body and turned around. Yesterday, Naruto had clearly stated that he didn't want to let Fengxu come out. He also understood Naruto's heart, so he simply let Naruto escape without shouting the wind. But Sakura, a selfish woman, did not notice it at all. Or she doesn't care about Naruto's thoughts at all. In the end they were injured, causing Naruto to blame themselves and even psychologically collapse. So much that he took the initiative to give up the control of the body and hid in the body and refused to come out. Sakura's face was also confused about Sasuke's sudden cold. However, she has been used to this sudden cold and heat. Go back and enter the kitchen to bring out the food that has long been prepared. Outside the door, Naruto, who strolled around, pushed in with a small octopus ball. I have to say that it feels good to master the body to taste food. Naruto usually has only painful memories, and this good memory of taste food, but only the master personality can be exclusive. Wind, you are back. Seeing that the moisture was hung on the neck at will, the neatness of the hair came back, and Sakura's eyes were on. After putting the food in front of Sasuke, he surrounded him. How is it? Is this wave of country fun? Fengxu glanced at Sakura, then put his expression, showing a hearty smile. String it at will. This place is really poor. There are few snack stalls. But the taste is not bad. Come on, Naruto deliberately instructed me to bring you. Fengxu did not forget to make up for Naruto and Sakura, and finally gave Naruto a ruthlessness. Naruto, but people are more hopeful. This is you brought me specifically. Sakura twisted her face and grabbed the corner of the clothes. Her voice was low, but the wind was very clear. Chong holds the smile on his face. Fengxu directly stuffed the things into Sakura's arms, and then walked towards Sasuke. Seeing the wind, Sasuke clenched his fist unconsciously and loosened. Just as he was about to ask some questions about Naruto, Dazna's daughter, Jin Nami, rushed in from outside the door. It's bad. Kado Maritime Company signed a treaty with Daemon, and we need to invest in our country to establish a ninja village. Many people even sent a lot of people to build a bridge. He is going to become the nobleman of our country. What? Dazana's grandson, Yunari, rushed out of the door. The small face was full of anger and incomprehension. Big bad guy card has bullied us for so long. I don't believe that the big name will agree. Inly, Demingfu has posted a notice, but most people do not agree with us. and are gathered at the door of Daming Mansion to protest. Maybe the big name will take back this decision after seeing our voice. Jean Nime is also full of anger and helplessness. In this year, too many people died of resistance to Cardo, including Inanli's father. Now Kata turned and whitewashed, and no one could accept it. Listening to the naive conversation between the mother and son, the wind shook her head a little funny. You will not be able to take back the decision, because he is afraid and wants to live a good life, and also provides money to establish a village. No small country will refuse this temptation. As soon as Fengxu turned back, he retracted his shadow avatar and released a shadow avatar, so he knows the most clearly about this. The Kato of his nine-tailed chakra was almost justified. The name of this wave of kingdoms couldn't wait to agree. I didn't even mention the humiliation of this year's experience, and accompanied the smiling face throughout the process. Even the identity of the big nobles was forcibly given by the names of the country of Boshida, and wanted to tie them to a chariot. I don't believe it. I'm going to find the big name. Anali rushed out of the house with a roar. Jean Nami glanced a little helplessly. It's true, you will know the truth as deceiving yourself. Fengxu shrugged, and then asked, is there a room and pen and paper? He is going to take a look at the development plan after the shipping company. Episode 42. In the room, Fengxu quickly listed the preliminary plan. As the largest shipping company in the ninja, Fengxu will naturally not give up the advantage of shipping. Although shipping is transportation, which makes the shipping company has a good international status, it is limited to this. It can also bully the remote poverty-stricken country of Bobo Kingdom, and it took so long, and finally did not succeed in the end. I really want to actually participate in the chessboard of the hegemony of various countries and get their recognition. Still have to start from the two aspects of food and energy. As for research technology, to be honest, most of the scientific and technological products of the previous lives are available. It is just that there is no popularity, and the level of science and technology in each place is very different. The most important thing is that this thing requires a lot of time, there are too many projects, and it is too slow to see. In contrast, it is faster in grain and energy. Among the two, wind deficiency is more inclined to grain. After all kinds of energy and mines are controlled by major countries, but he did not plan to go to Tiger Mouth to eat. The food is much simpler. You only need to redeem a separate wooden ninjutsu. Then, the grain seeds are hybridized to cultivate the seeds with many high-quality production capacity, and they can quickly occupy the market. Moreover, there are few ninjas in the ninja world, and no ninja will think about caring about people's livelihood research. They only think about how to increase their combat effectiveness to kill the enemy. And the grain production capacity and production methods in the ninja world are also very low and backward. When Naruto controlled his body to follow Kakashi to do the task, he received artificial transplant and artificially removing ears. Even if the production method is backward, the pararoni per mu is not high. Compared with the output of a hybrid rice per mu in Fengxu's predecessor, there is nothing to look at here. After thinking about the development plan, Fengxu directly called the system panel directly in his mind. Wooden Ninja, Ashura, 600,000 Blackened value. Top 2, the advanced of thousands of hands, 150,000 Blackened value. Really thousands of hands, 120,000 Blackened value. Mujia, 100,000 Blackened value. Spell, 2,000 black value. There are many ninjutsu in Muyu, and the system is very detailed. It is a pity that there is no fairy wood inside, which disappoints Fengxu. Fortunately, he saw the wooden cricket suitable for exchange, and the blackization value was not high. System, redeeming grass and trees. Successful exchange, blackization value, 20,000. Current blackening value, 38,000. At the time of exchanges, the wind deficiency and clear sense responded to a familiar chakra, which poured into the body. It's just that chakra was suppressed before, but now it is used for him. Ashura chakra, but too little. Because the redeeming characters will be attached to the chakra once, the wind is not surprised. But the pressure on his soul was a little less. If Naruto will regain physical control again, he could delay for a few seconds with this lost Ashura chakra. Looking at the remaining 38,000 dark value, the wind deficiency did not intend to save it, and prepared all the exchanges into strength. System, redeem Yangjiawei, redeem character's body technique. Yangjiaojin exchange successful. Black value, 3,0006000. Successful exchange of middle and upper ninja techniques. Black value, 20,000. Current blackening value, 0. The previously redeemed a 3-tailed chakra model was used for a total of 14,000, so the remaining 7 tails only needed 36,000. The middle and upper ninjutsu are no longer cut, white, and Cardo's hands. After the exchange was completed, Fengxu obviously felt that his body was stronger again. At the same time, the influx of chakra, which was massive, made the wind deficiency a bit out of time. If the previous 3-tailed chakra mode is a pond, then this complete Yangjiawei is the sea. The two are no longer on the order. Without hesitation, if Fengxu created the tail animal jade again, it would be a bunch of one time. And each one is as big as basketball, not the kind of small marbles. With the film-level physical technique, Fengxu felt that he could completely abuse the apes to fly the sun and Tuanzang. It can also be regarded as the real sense of self-protection in the ninja. Do not worry about the plot running away, the people of Shao organization will find him in advance. The movement of Fengxu's side quickly attracted the attention of Sasuke and Sakura downstairs. Pasted, the two quickly ran up the stairs and hit the door. What happened? Why are the whole house shaking? At the moment the two entered, Fengxu retracted the nine-tailed chakra overflowing on his body. The wooden house also stopped shaking. Nothing, just accidentally controlled chakra. Looking at the messy room, the two did not doubt too much. It's just that Sasuke couldn't help but pinch his fist again. His expression was a little dull. He felt very clearly that the wind in front of him became stronger again. Wherever he stands, he has a sense of crisis of terror monsters. This kind of palpitations and fear, he only perceived on Itachi. By the way, you can help clean up the house, I have something to go out. After finishing the plan, you also redeem the completion of the wind, and do not intend to continue. After the two of them, the two jumped out of the window and quickly disappeared into the distance. Obviously you are messy so fast, the wind deficiency seems to have become stronger again. As soon as Sakura wanted to refute his complaints, it was startled by the speed of Fengxu's departure. After hearing Sakura's words, Sasuke turned his head coldly and turned downstairs. You come to clean up the room, I go to practice. Sakura, looking at the messy room, Sakura suddenly wanted to cry without tears. Suddenly she missed Naruto. If Naruto is still there, this house will definitely let Naruto and her. No, it is Naruto to clean up alone. Night. The base of the shipping company, don't cut, bye, and Kaido sitting respectfully in the room. Because the identity of not cutting and white is special, the wind does not let them kill the card. Instead, he was used as a puppet on the bright side. Carter did not agree. However, he was tortured a few times without cutting and torture. After gaining strong power, he became honest. The three who were kneeling didn't wait long. With the wind of the red-bottomed yellow star mask, he appeared in front of them. After looking at a few people, Fengxu directly sprinkled a bunch of seeds. I have cultivated rice seeds, and you will register the seed company tomorrow. Hearing the words, nodded and quickly nodded. Cardo looked at Fengxu carefully and whispered, is this the rice that you can produce a pound of rice per moo? It seemed to be afraid of misunderstanding of wind. Cardo set his head on the ground fiercely. No, I don't want to question you. It's just that the number is too small, and don't you need to send it to the laboratory for the next generation of castration? Episode 43. The shipping company is the hard work of Kato's lifetime. Although he was occupied, he still didn't want the company to be bankrupt. After all, a lot of money has been taken out of the country of investing in waves and the establishment of Ninja Village. If a seed company cannot occupy the market profit, it is unavoidable to rely on the project of shipping alone. Fengxu glanced at Kata, and stood the cold sweat of Kaido, and his head died on the ground. Sudden, well. Ah. Cardo screamed stern. His arm was penetrated by a golden fox tail, and blood flowed quickly. I don't like the sound of opposition, and I don't like to be asked. I only need one sound in the whole organization. Wind Deficiency's eyes turned into scarlet pupils. The substantial killing rushed out, so that the entire room was like an ice cave. Understand? He heard that Ka had a lot of pain, and he raised his head on the ground to ask for mercy. I understand the master. Also invite the host to spare me this time. It is also a fearlessness to not cut and white on the side. The body is tight and upright, and I dare not move. In just one day, they found that the strength of Fengxu has improved again. If you don't care about this shadow avatar before, you can easily defeat it. Now they don't necessarily feel that they can win this shadow avatar. The change of this strength is too scary. It's not an example. The cold killing intention and the foxtail are recovered, and the temperature in the room restarts to room temperature. In the future, the shipping company is renamed the Red Star Consortium, and the sign was created according to the pattern on this mask. After knocking on several people, Fengxu took out the mask. He was looking for someone in the afternoon and thrown to the ground. Then he gently closed his hands and murmured with a voice that 3 people could hear. Wooden, grass and trees. Suddenly, all the piles in front of Fengxu's feet germinated. It's just a kung fu, which is a tall rice, and is piled up with more than half of the room. It's a wooden. Combined with the scene of hearing and seeing, after all, he did not hold his expression after all, his eyes were smooth. This is the blood succession of the god of ninja in the legend. How many unknown strengths are there in my village? Thinking in my heart, don't look at the eyes of Wind Deficiency, even more awe and fear. He has no doubt that with the current strength of the wind, he can completely beat the 5 shadows of the 5 major ninja villages. Bai and Kato on the other side are unclear, but see the huge ears of wheat, and the straw several times higher than other rice. The two also widened their eyes as they did not cut. Do not understand wooden, but they know rice. This is really rice. The non-memorized cards issued questions again, but as soon as he said, he immediately realized that it was wrong. Hurry up with the surplus hands, and keep making it yourself. This must be rice. Only a powerful ninja such as the owner can cultivate this kind of god with the same means. Compared with you with Great You, the shadow of the 5 major ninja villages is simply not associated with your shoes. Rainbow Fart keeps saying from Cardo's mouth, but he was really excited. This rice can be used to get cold if it is really planted. The output of 1 acre will definitely be more than 1,000 caddies. For the current ninja grain market, the impact caused is absolutely no less than that of a ninja war. He can even kill farmers from all over the country by relying on these high-yield rice, then master the food lifeblood of various countries and become a new world hegemon. The existing pattern of the ninja world has changed to the situation where the 5 major countries and a consortium are 6th. Thinking of this, Cardo couldn't help but have some intracranial high X. Even the slap in his hand was even more powerful, and his face was as tall as a fermented dough. Master, as long as 1 year. After a year, we can use the huge amount of rice produced by these rice to occupy all countries at a very low price. Let their farmers only plant or change their careers, so that they can only buy cheap rice that depends on us. If Cardo was forced before, then he is voluntary now. An ordinary world richest man, and a senior management of a 5 major national level organizations. Pigs know how to choose. You can do world-class companies, you are not a fool. Don't have to explain the wind deficiency in detail, praise the card. Compared to hearing a look of aggressive, it is no longer possible to do what the cheap rice can produce. Cardo is indeed a business talent that can be used. But selling rice is too slow, we are seed companies, just sell seeds directly. These seeds have been moved by me, and the generation of rice planted can continue to grow as seeds. But the second generation seeds can only be used as a mouth grain and cannot be used as the result of the seed germination. You go to collect the rice here. These quantities are enough for you to open the market and reputation in front. I will give you a batch of seeds for planting later. One will be closed in 2 months and can be harvested 3 times. The words of the wind made Kato's eyes brighten. Selling seeds is definitely more cost-effective than selling rice, and it is faster, and it is not easy to arouse resistance. For this high-yield rice, farmers in various countries will only scramble to buy. If there are really national power participation, those farmers are the biggest obstacles. I see. I will let people collect it, and the founding company will start to build momentum tomorrow. Cardo jumped from the ground and ran out of excitement. The wind did not stop and looked at the expression at a dull expression. Feel the eyes of the wind, and then don't cut back the out of control, respectfully bow their heads. Leader, do you have to instruct us? Fengxu nodded slightly and said, the name of the ninja village is Xingyin Village, and the sign is the same as the mask. In addition, if you go out with me a few days later, I need to find some ninjas to join us. Since you want to create a ninja village, naturally you have to have some high-quality ninjas. Thinking of the plot in my mind, the Fengxu quickly locked 2 candidates. The fragrant and flying section. In the original plot, the first appearance of Xiong Phosphorus was the Central Ren test, which represents Chao Ren village, which is easy to find. As for the flying section, Fengxu remembers that he did not join the Shao organization before the scorpion died. It should be engaged in cults in Tangziguo as a killing demon. Episode 44. 2 weeks later, under the money of the Red Star Consortium, the bridge connecting the outside world was completed in advance. It takes half less than the original plot. The completion of the bridge, plus new Red Star seed companies, brought a lot of employment. The current country of waves, except for those who are close to the hands of Cardo, almost all accept the status quo. Of course, Fengxu also made Kata spend money to arrange a lot of prestigious people, touting whitening in the people and guiding public opinion. It is said that the previous year was just a test before investment. The country of Bo also passed the test with tenacity and unity, and a good day to eat full is coming to Yunyun. A large amount of seemingly reasonable, but in fact, if you raise the big cake, eliminate the resistance of most nations of the country, and follow their words and start thinking about the future. Even let them feel grateful because they have a work that can make money and have their own tolerance. There is no need to say whitewashing itself now. Anyone who scolds and resists the Red Star Group will be drowned by the saliva of other people. The prestige is faintly more than the name of the country. However, the name of the country of Bo also didn't care too much, because he also had the money to get it, and he could eat spicy as the nobles of the great powers. Compared to the previous dare to say, he is always worried that Kato sent people to assassinate him at all times. It should not be too good. In short, this series of methods learned from the previous life allowed the Cardo of the country for a year, and admired the 5-body investment. Take the minimum salary to work for yourself, and be grateful to yourself, don't be too outrageous. If he could have half of the wind before, the country of this wave was already won by him. Of course, this series of means of Fengxu can only flickering the people of poverty. The 7th class from the wealthy Woodleaf was staggering to the combination of the Yongmo. Especially Kakashi, he couldn't understand, since Cardo has such courage and means. Then why did Enji get it in the country of Bueji's country for a year, and was frantically resisted by the people? Is it because of the arrival of Strong they arrived, let Kato have to move his mind? Although I couldn't figure it out, There was no reason to stay in the 7th class of class who successfully completed the task. After saying goodbye to the Dazana family, she embarked on the road back to my village. The other side, the country of soup, wearing a black jacket and a flying section with a big back, stopped the way for passers-by. This brother, understand the villain? What? After a moment, the poor passerby was nailed to the tree with an iron rod. Under the tree is an inexplicable religious pattern drawn with blood. The scream also attracted 3 people who were pursuing the flying section. This is the 3rd one along the way. It is really cruel. Looking at the bloody scene in front of her eyes, Bai frowned unconsciously, and a look of disgust appeared on her face. Seeing Bai frowns, no longer cut, there is an expression of interest on the face. No money for money, there is no resentment, just to kill it. I really like this kind of scum. Although they have also killed many people, they are all task targets or people who are not good for them. Moreover, some task goals are too pitiful to be released by fake death, and he usually opens one eye and closes one eye. In this way, he suddenly felt that he was a good person. Do not cut your head again, and bring a bloodthirsty smile from the corner of his mouth. Boss, can I kill him later? The scream of this kind of scum is definitely very pleasant, making people feel physically and mentally happy. If you don't cut it again, the wind and the malicious wind open your eyes. If you can kill it, follow you. Turning around and walked towards the other side of the road. It's all with me, he hasn't gone far yet. Fengxu thought that he could not kill, and no longer smashed the smile on his face. Then the eyes were gloomy and followed. Since the Fengxu looked at him, he said, then he must kill the flying section later. The 3 were not far away, and it turned out to be slowly swallowing a walk. The flying section also felt the person behind him and turned to look at it. Yo, this time it is 3. It's really a good god of evil gods. Seeing the 3 people, Fei Duan's face brought out an excited smile. Because of his constant killing, there were a lot of people walking on the road. There are 3 people now, which is almost equivalent to a day. It's really blessed by evil gods. Now, the handsome guy beauty also has an ugly man. Do you want to join us? The ugly man? If you don't want to cut it, you know who you say. The face is full of chills. Just say it, because he is the boss. Now a person who has been on the list of Nirvana dares to say that. The flying section thought that she would never cut or understand, and still explained with excited smile. Our teachings are very good. Murder will not only be guilty, but also make the evil god even more happy, and even drop the gospel. How is it? Is it very spillacy? Looking at the morbidity on Fei Duan's face, no more disgusting. The beheading big knife behind it directly pointed to the flying section. It seems that you are the serial murderer, right? Are you ready to die? Don't get blood by him, if you don't want to die. Seeing that he wanted to start, the wind reminded him without care. The front flying section also heard the words of Fengxu, and opened his mouth and was surprised. Actually know the prayer ceremony. Are you also a wicked believer? You talk too much. Seeing that the flying section dared to speak over him, he talked to Fengxu, and he had a cold face and slashed his knife. The flying section also immediately reacted, and the sickle on his hand was ready to change the injury. However, the flying section was drawn on the chest, and blood flowed. The one before is no longer cut into a pool of water in the sickle. Before the flying section was puzzled, there was no cold voice behind him. The whole body is flawed. I really don't know why the boss can see the color of your garbage. During the talk, the beheading sword directly pierced the heart of the flying section, and then pulled it out. In Hong's blood also splashed on the ground. It's so simple, it's really boring. Do not cut the noodles with disdain to recover the beheading knife. As soon as he was about to pull away, his arm was grabbed by the flying section in front of him. Do you know? The flying section vomited blood, but the feet were painted with a pattern with the toes. I am very painful. Along with the anger's roar, the sickle in the other hand screamed. What kind of ghost? You didn't die. No longer be surprised and puzzled. The recovered beheading sword once again took out of the chest, and at the same time, he quickly kicked out of the palm of the flying section. Looking at the break away from being far away, the flying section was not discouraged at all, but laughed proudly. At the same time, the fingers who had just held the fingers that had just been held to the mouth, sucking the blood in the nail seam, ready to accept the sanctions of the evil god. The ceremony starts. Episode 45. The moment the flying section falls, the whole body is covered with darkness, and a white rough lines like white bones emerge. Curse, dead division, blood. What are you strangely you? Looking at the flying section like a skeleton, there is a bad premonition without cutting. Just to break away from away, his left hand was scratched by the nails in the flying section, overflowing some blood. And this blood is obviously obtained by the flying section opposite. Coupled with the warning before the wind deficiency, he would not cut it quickly without cutting. Water bad big waterfall. Everything is ready, enjoy the pain. Seeing that he didn't cut it to release ninjutsu, the flying section immediately pulled out a huge iron thorn hole and put on his palm. No more cutting is interrupted in an instant, and a large hole with blood appears. How? No matter how unbelievable he looked at the opposite side. The heart sank to the bottom of the valley instantly. He now understands that the opposite ninjutsu should not be called spell, undead, plus shared damage that needs to be achieved. No more. Seeing that no more injuries were cut, Bai, who was still calm at the back, couldn't stand immediately. He stepped out of his feet and appeared behind the flying section in an instant. The Chanben needle in his hand was fiercely tied towards the flying section. The flying section that perceives the later attack does not mean to avoid. Instead, he laughed and bowed his head, hitting the thorns with his eyebrows. Ha ha ha. Good, come, send him to death. Call out. At a critical moment, the right to be the right thing to collect is more than half of the strength. The Chanben needle was only scratched by the flying cheeks. At the same time, no bandage face was cut in the distance, and it was penetrated by a large amount of red. Bastard, unlock your ninjutsu. Seeing that he would be injured again without cutting again, Bailey realized the current situation and retracted the weapons in his hand. Hearing Bai screaming and scolding, Fei Duan laughed her morbidly madly. Ha ha ha, my curse is unsolved. Enjoy the gospel of the evil god, and enjoy this piercing, then beyond the painful pleasure. The iron thorns in the flying section suddenly stabbed again. The goal is the heart nest on his chest. Puff. The sound of sharp blades sounded through the flesh. Don't cut the adults. Bai, who couldn't stop, turned his head and looked at it. Seeing that the chest that did not cut anymore followed the blood hole, the bandage on the face was soaked by blood. Don't call a little beauty, it's your turn. The flying section pulled out the iron thorns on the chest and pointed the sickle to White. I just didn't wait for him to take a shot. For a moment, he came to the flying section, and the red chakra flame was burning on his body, and the beheading of the big knife raised it high. I didn't expect to use the power given by the boss for the first time, and it consumed a lot. You really make me very faceless. Listening to a low whisper without chopping teeth, the flying section showed the surprise expression of the beginning as no longer cut. You are not dead. But followed by ecstasy, you are also an immortal. You are also a believer of the evil god. The big knife fell, and the hand holding the iron thorns' hand fell instantly. If you don't cut it, you caught your own hand in time and press it on the wound. The pure yang attribute 9-tailed chakra quickly poured out, and the interface at the break was healed with speed scabs visible to the naked eye. Can you heal so fast? The flying section that was still shocked was dumbfounded, followed by anger. Bastard! Why can you get the favor of the evil god more than me? Master Evil God? You are really a fool. He looked at the flying section without sneer, and then quickly pulled back and retreated. White, cut off his limbs. I have to see what he can do if he has no limbs. The wounds on the chest and arms are only temporarily maintained before repairing, and no longer dare to tear the wound. I dare not let the White attack flying section. He was afraid that he couldn't hold it in the end and hung up. Clear. When I saw that it was okay, Bai was relieved. But before he started, the flying section on the side was mad at the moment. Impossible, I am the most loyal believers in the evil god, and I am the most graceful person. You must be lied to me, give me to death. The only hand left by the flying section held the sickle, and used 3 swords to face his neck, face, and eyebrows. He couldn't help but kill others after his head dropped. He just wants to see that he will never cut it in front of him. Damn, stay. Seeing the action of the flying section, Bailey was carved forward at the fastest speed, and the thousands of needles were stabbed towards the joint. Flying bands that are not weak can have been prepared for a long time. It was just a slightly sideways to avoid by Chanben needle, and the knife in his hand was embedded in the skin. But just embedded the skin, the whole person couldn't move. You are really good, but that's it. I don't want to get 2 fools who have been damaged in the end. What he speaks is the shadow of Fengxu. He didn't know when he came to the flying section, covered with malicious Jinhong chakra. The 9 fox tails behind them are generally tightly wrapped in the flying section and raised high in the sky. Great, it's the wind of the wind. Bai's hanging heart was put down again, and he retreated quietly. If you don't cut it anymore, your face is gloomy, and he bowed his head unwillingly. This horrible chakra. This extreme evil thoughts and killings. This kind of unknown and evil like a mother's arms. Master Evil God. You are the great evil god. The flying section entangled by the wind was shocked, and then it was ecstatic. He looked at Fengxi's eyes, as if he was looking at the treasure in the world. Even when it comes to the last evil god, the fanaticism on his face almost made his body trembling. Because chakra, who is not solemn, is a pure version, so the flying section did not feel anything at the beginning. But when the wind deficiency was used, the evil ominous 9 tails, plus the extreme maliciousness of the wind deficiency itself, all burst out. This is the evil thoughts that the flying section has never seen in a lifetime. The kind of evil thoughts to destroy everything and kill everything. It's just like the legendary evil god. Yes, my loyal believers, don't refuse my gift. The breath was intentionally released without concealment. This is also the first time he was soaked in evil thoughts and resentment, and for the first time, he completely released his breath. Gift. When he heard the gift, Fei Duan immediately thought of the light chakra flame that had just been cut off. Suddenly, the only one left arm was opened, and the weapons were thrown to the ground, and they looked at it. Fengxu was not polite to him, and the 6 fox tails behind him all pierced the body of the flying section like a sharp blade. A large number of most primitive and malicious chakra flowed into his body. Ah. Haha, great. This kind of power. Haha, this pain. Happy. It's so pleasant. Haha, eh. The flying section laughed tragically, and the skin on his body was constantly burned and fixed. Until the dust settled, Fengxian put his drop of arm and put him down. You will follow me in the future. Hearing the words, the fanaticism on Fei Duan's face was even more scored. He even kneeling on the ground, and his expression was sacredly bowed his head to kiss the Fengxu shoes. Great evil god, your devout servants listen to your dispatch. No more cut/white. Evil god, mad believers are perverted. The boss of their fools, Taipa is missing. Episode 46, My Village, Naruto Office. The report of Kakashi wrote a report was in contemplation. The chakra tail becomes 3, and it can also release a chakra aggregate, which has the lethality of at least S-class ninjutsu. There is also Naruto, which gave the body to Fengxu for nearly 2 weeks. It didn't come out to show up, is it? The eyebrows of the apes were tightly frowned, and her face was not very good. For Naruto, who has been instilled from childhood, is very grasped by ape flying sun to control it. But for the sudden appearance and the violent style, the ape flying sun can be said to have no way. When he first saw the wind deficiency, he felt the indifference and disdain in the bones. And in the eyes of the wind, there was no close or respect for him. He knew that Fengxu was a double-edged sword with Naruto as a knife, but he never expected that the double-edged sword hadn't started to use it yet, and the knife handle was gone. Strong pressure and depression in the heart. Ape Fei Rija again carefully analyzed the report submitted by Kakashi again. The report is very detailed from the attack of the route to the Red Star Group to join the country of waves. All of them are clearly described. The entire report was almost more than 20,000 words in addition to Kakashi himself. He also asked Sasuke and Sakura. The ape flying sun is also the key to the problem from the content seen from Sasuke and Sakura. It turned out to be because the partner's identity was another, and the guilt and ashamed after the partner was injured. Ape Fury chopped very much about Naruto, and instantly analyzed the problem. It seems that it is imminent to improve Naruto's strength, and it is necessary to let people soothe Naruto. Thinking of this, the eyebrows of the apes were released, and he gently got off the desk. Alas! Naruto wearing a mask appears directly. Did you find it? The dark part shook his head. No. But we have received the witness information of Tang Jigua, and it takes some time to search. Continue to send people. I hope to get specific news this week. Yes. The dark ninja nodded respectfully. As soon as I was about to leave, the sound of the ape flying sun rang again. By the way, let Iarka and Asma come over. The chakra attribute of the 7th class of the 7th class was tested after the 3 of chakra, who had the strength to have the strength of Zhongning. So Ape Fury is going to return before the tap. Let's teach Naruto, who is also a wind attribute. Yes. On the street opposite Naruto, Fengxu Jing and Sasuke Sakura chatted with 3 color balls. Mainly, Sasuke and Sakura said that Fengxu was observing the Naruto building. It wasn't until I saw Iarka and Asma entering the building, and Fengxu put down the ball to signal Sasuke to pay. Sasuke did not quit, and got up and went to the boss to buy the order. After all, this time he proposed to eat, and by the way, talk about Naruto. For Naruto, Sasuke himself is actually very strange. Obviously it feels as annoying as Sakura, but I always want to approach, as if there is an inexplicable attractiveness. Fengxu, please convey what we just said. Before Sasuke's words were finished, he was interrupted by Fengxu. Okay, I will persuade him. Nowadays, the trust dependence of the master personality has not reached 80%. And the wind deficiency has always been used to occupy the body. The dominance is no longer in his hands, and his body may be going back at any time. Moreover, Naruto has been consciously complained and dazed in the void. He has not been darkened in the past 2 weeks, which seriously affects his speed. There are also Iarka and Asma, who have just entered Naruto. It also shows that Ape Fei Ri is going to intervene. Rather than asking Ape Flying to find someone to persuade or slander him, it's better to take the initiative to talk to Naruto. Time has passed so long, he didn't believe that Naruto hadn't figured it out yet. Okay, I'll go first. After the Fengxu waved his hand, he quickly walked away. At the same time, the sound of wind sounded in Naruto's ear. You just heard Sasuke and Sakura, right? What do you plan now? Is it brave to face, or do you give me the body completely? When he heard the wind deficiency, Naruto's dull eyes finally had a touch of dynamic. However, he did not answer the question of Fengxu, but talked back to the question of the king and mount before. Wind, I thought about what you said before, and I also reflected on my behavior for a long time. And the relationship between the king and the mount in your mouth is wrong, and the side is not the king. Wang should be the idea of controlling the correct direction. It is the guidance of holding the reins in the hand to let the mount do not go wrong. It is the owner who limits the instinct of the beast. Naruto said the more bright eyes. Even when it comes to the last sentence, the whole person stood up from the ground. Indeed, he has not been decadent in the past 2 weeks. Instead of thinking about wind deficiency and the relationship between Fengxu. So what? Fengxu came interested and felt that Naruto said a bit. He is going to look at the legendary Bitangsui today. Can he say that he will move him outside the world? So, you are obviously stronger in all aspects, and at the same time more brutal. You can't dominate your body. It is far more gentle and optimistic than you, and I can dominate the body. Just like the ninja who masters the ninjutsu, the samurai who uses the samurai knife. The relationship between us has always been complementary, both in one. You are equivalent to my ninjutsu, my weapon, and I want you to play a role in the right direction. Fengxu laughed a little bit. What is this distorted evil? Why do you think I am your weapon? You have to figure out, if I don't want to, I cannot fight any danger. You won't. Naruto shook his head with a firm look. You are a more brutal me, so you won't see your own death. Besides, you will die when I die, and you will be more sad when I am sad. This is our constant connection. Fengxu, so angry. In just 2 weeks, Naruto was forced to become smart. And this is not the sky, can it be said? Although Fengxu also wanted to continue to refute Naruto's fallacy and evil theory, but when he returned to the balcony on the balcony, Yu Guang had already seen the 3 people below the apes below. Settle account with you next time, and return your body to you. Between speaking, the wind deficiency instantly retracted the body. Naruto reappeared with bright eyes. Don't leave, I haven't finished talking yet. You haven't said how to teach me to use Jiuwei chakra. Naruto did not recapture his body from the beginning, but he was afraid that the wind deficiency would not communicate with him after returning. The result is really the case, he said only half of his words. As soon as I wanted to continue to cry in my heart, I was interrupted by knocking. Opening the door, the people outside the door surprised Naruto's face. 3 generations of grandpa, and teacher Iria. Hearing the familiar name, the serious expression of the apes was stagnant. You are Naruto. Episode 47. Early the next morning, on the training ground commonly used in the 7th class, Naruto is concentrating on printing and practicing the wind of the new society, wind. Breakthrough. The momentum is very full, but unfortunately, the wind blowing from Naruto's mouth, just like the 5-stage electric fan, can only relieve the heat. Damn, failed again. This ninja taught by teacher Asuma is so difficult. If it can be as simple as the technique of multiple shadows. Naruto sat on the ground a little discouraged and planned to rest for a while. As for the Asuma who taught him ninjutsu in his mouth, it was the result of yesterday. Don't worry about Naruto's ape flying, and I came to Naruto's house with Iruka and Asuma. After seeing Naruto's master's personality, the apes were cut down before letting go. After all, he wants a 9-tailed pillar, not an unstable factor. Later, he affirmed and comforted Naruto with Iruka, and emphasized his importance. Finally, I introduced Asuma and told Naruto to find a teacher who learned the style to help him get stronger. Asuma, who was reluctant to receive the teaching task, brought the 10th class to the training ground in class 7 the next day. He and Kakashi have discussed it, even for the joint training of 2 classes during this time. It happened that his 10th class cultivation was not active, and it was inspired by the 7th class of Zhou Ning's level. On the side, Asuma, who smoked, was discouraged by Naruto's face, shook his head and walked slowly. Naruto, pay attention to the chakra that needs to be manufactured when the seal, and the chakra to be output you just have too little. Compared to controlling chakra climbing trees and stepping on water, the control required for ninjutsu is more accurate and detailed. For novices to release ninjutsu, they must release them in accordance with the prescribed best chakra quantity. One more trace of one less and less can make the constructing of ninjutsu an imbalance and cause failure. Only when the release is particularly skilled can we add more chakra, making the ninjutsu more power. Too little? Naruto looked up a little puzzled. When I released it, I have made enough chakra. There is also the control of chakra. Teacher Kakashi also said that I reached the level of ordinary LTO. After speaking, Naruto also got up and climbed towards the trunk on the side to show his control of chakra. Naruto's operation made the pigs and butterflies eating melon watching. That stupid Naruto, he can gather chakra with his feet so high. AI Nono couldn't let the Shikamaru beside him. Obviously they have just completed tree climbing training recently, but look at Naruto, it is clearly mastered for a long time. Ling talent is not a fool. Ding Ci, who eats potato chips, refutes Jinye seriously. Naruto has mastered the clever egg of A-class ninjutsu. Recalling the multiple shadow avatars of Naruto in the graduation exam, Ito is also a little guilty. However, she still had a hard mouth on her face. Obviously it was the tail of the crane, and it was only good to be lucky to learn. Listening to the quarrel between the two, Shikamaru broke freely of Jinye's hand and hid aside. It's a headache. Naruto is controlled so well, and the other two must be the same or better. After that, it will definitely be troublesome to die. Shikamaru thought about how high the training intensity would be after his own smart brain. Asuma will definitely not let them fish for 3 days, for 2 days and 2 days. As Shikamaru thought, Asuma saw Naruto's action in one go, and he also froze. Several of them were trained in different places before, so I just heard of it. I don't know the real cultivation progress between each other. According to Naruto's current degree of control, it should be more difficult to step on the water. Thinking of Asuma's depressed smoke here. According to the current situation, Naruto Saiz is also a very talented ninja. Why did his father still tell him that Naruto was a little stupid and made him more patient? Is it because the two people's ideas are not good, so his father just takes the opportunity to say 2 more words to him? There is also Kakashi, which obviously looks so salty fish. Why do you teach so seriously and responsible? Asuma was thinking complicated, but he continued to teach. Kakashi's training before just let you get started with chakra, not to reach the peak. So if you want to learn a strong ninjutsu, you need to concentrate on practice. While saying, Asuma made a breakthrough for Naruto to demonstrate the wind. First, according to the requirements of the knot, mix the body's energy and mental energy to create the corresponding chakra. His hand slowly gestured in front of him. Asuma also put the synthetic chakra outside, blooming with blue light. Then control these chakra gathered into the mouth and build a ninjutsu to be released. Asuma was inhaled sharply, the cheeks were sunken, and the cigarettes were turned into ash. At the same time, the blue light in his body also retracted quickly and gathered in the mouth. Last successfully released. Asuma's breath of his breath was a little sharp, and after shouting, he spit out his breath. Wind breakthrough. Instantly, a small tornado with nearly 5 meters high is formed in front of everyone. The gravel and grass crumbs on the ground were rolled up, and the wind pressure scratched the nearby pig butterfly hair. It's amazing. Naruto's eyes were shining with a longing. Seeing Naruto's worship, Asuma was satisfied with a cigarette. I just meant that chakra made by you was enough, but the chakra that controlled the output wasted a lot, so it was not enough. If there is no way to accurately control the output, you can choose to create more at the beginning to offset waste. This is the case. Naruto suddenly realized, and quickly released again. This time it was obviously much better than the last time, and there was a miniature tornado less than half a meter before. Seeing Naruto's ninjutsu formed, Asuma nodded with satisfaction. Yes, just follow this progress. After you can make the form tornado reaches me, I will teach you B-level ninjutsu and higher chakra nature changes. The big breakthrough was that Asuma spent one night yesterday to learn, and the power was not great, so his request is not too high. According to Naruto's chakra volume, it can be placed almost hundreds of times a day, and it should be completed for more than a month. If you change to the amount of chakra, you can put ordinary ninja several times a day. Hearing the big cake painted by Asuma, Naruto's interest was even more interested, and continued to practice diligently. The morning time passed. There is no Naruto, and chakra followed the bottom. After saying goodbye with Asuma and the 10th class, Naruto gave the body control to Fengxu. This is also the result of the 2 people discussed last night. Wind deficiency can be played on behalf of them, and even slightly helps to cultivate. The cost is to divide the body of 1/3 of the time. Suffering, it is really a comfortable fresh air. The wind twisted his neck slightly and moved his finger joints. Suddenly, the sound of friction of bone festivals was endless. With this unusual action change, the dark part of the monitoring seemed to understand something. The shadow flashed out and appeared in front of the wind. Master Wind, I will lead you to the root base. Episode 48. Bring the way. Fengxu nodded calmly without any inquiries. This is the dark part of this lead. But when he remembered the instructions of Ape Flying Sun, he still couldn't help asking, do you don't want to ask something? Master Naruto told me, if you want to know, I don't have to conceal. Fengxu didn't speak, and glanced at the dark part coldly. Nasami's killing intention swept out, making this dark part as if to see a peerless murderer who opened the blood of the blood. The back of the back was also soaked in cold sweat. Immediately no longer nonsense, gritted his teeth to explain the Ape Flying Sun, and all said in one breath. Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura, I was taken to the root base this morning. Master Naruto, let me notify you, and hope you don't make trouble. After speaking, regardless of the reply, he turned a little stiff body, and face seemed to start to lead the way. Fengxi's killing intention was recovered, and his expression was quickly kept up. Naruto in the consciousness is frying. Sasuke and Sakura have been caught by the root base. Bastard, is this the old bad egg hiding the old bad egg to threaten me? No wonder I didn't see them at the training ground today. I thought everyone had a rest for a day. Recalling Sasuke, who has worked very hard in the past, I didn't come today. Naruto later realized that the matter was wrong. The wind was sneered, and the tone was full of ridicule. I think you are very happy in the morning, and haven't you found that your classmates have not come? Naruto blushed and wanted to refute, but I didn't spit out the second sentence for a long time. To be honest, he was still complacent in the morning to secretly cultivate himself, and Sasuke Sakura did not come to cultivate. This excitement, the wind is very clear, so I will talk about it. In the end, Naruto, who did not come out, could only vent his anger to Tuanzang, blamed the abominable big bad guy. Fengxu, you must take a good meal later. Recalling that the Tuanzang had repeatedly shot the people and the people around him, Naruto's heart was constantly turning up the fire. Gon? Fengxu laughed disdainfully. He don't need to guess that he can know that he is now ahead. If Tuanzang really wants to catch people, he will only catch Sakura or Adan Irika. Behind Sasuke, there is Uchiha Itachi, and he dare not move at all. Moreover, after the route was active, he was cut back by Ape Fei. Now I can jump out and bypass the ape flying sun to cut the abducted person. Ghost Turban believes it. As for the purpose of the ape flying sun, Fengxu can also guess. Because Tuanzang and his roots have been too active recently, the ape flying sun wants to borrow his hands to deter. At the same time, it shows his control of the Pillar of the Nine Tails. But Fengxu will not be like the wish of this dirty politician. Naruto, who felt disdainful, seemed to think of something, and quickly ordered, "Wind, they are still the villagers after all, you must not kill innocent. I will be a man in Naruto in the future, not the man behind Naruto." Yesterday, the Apes Flying Day had already given Naruto science. It is said that Tuanzang did a lot of violations of the village, so the personality was paranoid and dark. I also told Naruto that a lot of Naruto should be dedicated to the village. One is to cultivate Naruto into the next generation of Naruto. And Naruto, of course, also followed, and his heart was closer and trustworthy to the ape flying sun. Of course, Ape Fury also tried to get close to Naruto and Fengxu. Unfortunately, Fengxian ignored him, and he didn't speak at all. Don't kill innocents? Fengxu was laughed at Naruto again. Hehe, but your Naruto doesn't think so. The two spoke in their hearts. The dark ninja has brought the wind to a huge iron stone deep in the death forest. Pushing the iron stone slightly, it revealed a huge entrance to the ground. Master Wind, the place is here. The dark ninja respectfully pointed to the cave, and then retreated quickly to leave. But before he took 2 steps, the cold sound of Fengxu rang. Did I let you go? With the discourse, there is a huge foxtail of the golden red. The telescopic shoots like an electric light. Instantly, the dark ninja that could not be reacted was rolled up. At the same time, the evil Tyrannosaurus, which overflows the evil Tyrannosaurus, burned the skin of the dark ninja. You, what are you going to do? Forced to bear the fear, the dark ninja scolded hard. I represent Naruto, to lead the way to help you help your companions. Then what are you running? Fengxu grinned, but there was no smile in his eyes. Your dark parts and root masks are the same, I can't believe it. Still go with me honestly. Ignoring the struggle of the dark ninja, the wind deficiency took him into this underground entrance directly. The other side, Naruto office. The fingers of the ape flying sun were crossed, the back of the hand held the chin, and the viewer's crystal ball was in the wind. Seeing Fengxian obediently follow the dark part he sent, he had a satisfactory smile on his face. Suddenly, the door of the office was pushed away from the outside, and the arrogant voice of the Tuanzang came over. Drive, do you call me this time? Do you want to apologize to me? Tied with bandages, walking in with a stroke and a ninja of the Hyuga family. Obviously, after the oil girl took the root death, his left and right protection law quickly added a powerful newcomer. It should be you apologize to me, Tuanzang. The sound of the ape flying sun was loud, and the smile on his face faded quickly. Looking at the eyes of Tuanzang was all dissatisfied. Several times in a row, he did not say anything about the Jodi people, and in order to retaliate against him, he suppressed the root. The ninja who dares to seduce the ape fly to the roots. To be honest, this has already touched his red line. Over the years, he has been very tolerant of Tuanzang, so he will incorporate all ethnic ninja into the root. He even helped him to suppress the dissatisfaction, tolerated his assassination without itching, but now he dares to extend his hand to the ape flying family. The qualifications of your juniors are good after training. It is a powerful fire ninja. Tuanzang never retreated, staring aggressively at the ape flying sun. Your fine ape fury retracted his gaze and pushed the crystal ball in front of him. But this time you kidnap Sasuke and Haruno Sakura can be over, but the vortex wind is found. What? Hearing, Tuanzang suddenly looked over. Sure enough, I saw the dark parts and wind in the death forest. Ape flying sun. What do you mean? The troop of the country of Bashi also obtained information, understanding the strength of the wind. Coupled with the blocking of the ape flying sun, he had already given up temporarily, but now people have reached his base inexplicably, and let Fengxu know better than him. This is clearly a hand that wants to borrow the wind and want to borrow the wind of the wind to clean him up. Episode 50, The Right of Wind Deficiency. The ink surrounded by the darkness gradually disappeared, revealing the 4 figures inside. The front was Sakai, who was panting with a brush. Behind him, there are 3 printed pig deer and butterflies. Give me a little time. After shouting the 3 of them, Sakai waved his scroll to spread the scroll in the air. Immediately after swimming, he quickly painted on the scroll. The attacks of the 3 also followed Sakai's words. The Nara ninja with his hair first, the shadow poisonous snake under his feet suddenly extended out. Just like the sharp arrows that shot quickly, the blink of an eye came to the feet of Fengxu and merged with his shadow. In a short time an invisible restraint came. It's like a kind of tough spider silk that can't move the wind's body, while restricting the wind and deficiency action. On the side, a triangular family ninja was compared with the triangle, and a mental energy that could not be seen from the naked eye from the triangle. The speed of this spiritual energy is extremely fast, like a galloping electric light, and it hasn't entered the mind of the wind in an instant. The last one was the Chodao ninja with obese. I saw that his hands were printed, and inflatable generally became large and expanded quickly. It was just a moment when it was blocked by two huge palms that covered the sky. With the harsh sound of the air scratching the air, he shot heavily on the wind. All three are the special elite of the Tuanzang. This silky cooperation is that they have been won by them. Unfortunately, they are facing wind deficiency, a systematic hanging wall. The first to be violent was the ninja in the mountains. As his mind entered the wind deficiency, there is only one giant with scarlet pupils who welcome him, and a violent roar. Roll. The horror power brought out the hurricane to sweep through the mountain ninja in the consciousness. Next second, the mountain ninja, where the scream was not emitted, was instantly turned out to be bombarded into the scattered energy. Outside at the same time, Shan ninja, which was broken by heart, Chi Chiao sprinkled the fog like a fountain, and fell on the ground with fear. I didn't wait for the remaining two to be frightened. The ninja of the Chodao family also fired. Seeing the wind in front of it, although the body is still imitated by shadow, there is no movement, but the 9 fox tails behind them stabbed like a sharp blade. Suddenly, the giants who covered the sky stabbed 9 blood holes. Immediately after, the fox tail suddenly torn out of the blood cave. The giants seem to be exploded in the air. A large amount of minced meat is scattered to the entire open space with blood rain. Sakai, aren't you okay? In less than 5 seconds, he died and injured. The ninja of the Nara family was sweaty, and the full output of chakra was frightened. My shadow imitation is also to the limit. It's okay. Sakai was sweating, and the pen in his hand moved faster. In the distance, the wind of the two dialogue could not be ridiculed, then ignored the shadow's restraint, stepped out of his feet and appeared in front of Nara ninja. What made you arrogant and think of controlling me? What? Alas. With the screams of Nara ninja, the fox tail suddenly swept his neck. Then a huge skull with a braid towards the sky flew high towards the sky. The blood-covered face was still unbelievable with unsteady and unbelievable. In the end, only Sakai was forced to the extreme. His eyes were scarlet, and the brushes in his hands painted the phantom. In the end, when Feng Xian looked at him, the final ninjutsu finally completed. Super God, Pseudo Wind God Thor. With a brush with ink in his hand, he was scratched horizontally in front. Ink splashed. There were more than 10 meters high in the 2 feet, and the huge gods and Buddhas that were bulging like a mountain bag appeared. At the moment of appearing, the 2 gods and Buddhas waved their fists comparable to the big hills and fell towards the wind of wind. Boom, boom. 2 roar sounded through the world. The huge fist was blocked by 9 chakra fox tails, but the ground under the wind was shocked by the giant. The broken lines, even all the way to the wall on the edge of the base, actually blocked by no wound. No, my strength and I are not at the same level. You must evacuate quickly. Seeing that his strongest killing tricks were also easily blocked, Sakai had ran towards the passage without returning. The thrown Chodao ninja also reacted immediately, and ran out of the pain in his hand. Want to run? The wind was raised with an eyebrow, and the fox tail behind him cut out like a wind, chopping the palms of the 2 gods and Buddhas. I just wanted to lift my feet to catch up the gods and Buddhas without the palm of my hand were smashed with a bare arm. Let Fengxu have to avoid his body and stop. After preparing for so long, the super god pseudo paintings are indeed a little door. The stronger Sakai, the greater the potential, the happier the wind is. He could imagine the twisted old face after killing Sakai. The 2 who did not go to the passage again, the wind deficiency suddenly broke out of the 9-tailed chakra. Suddenly, chakra turned into a sharp claw that was as big as the gods and Buddhas in front of him. The next second giant claws wave. During the whistling, the 2 gods and Buddha statues were instantly cut off as a paper paste and fell to the ground. However, even so, the Buddha statue still did not dissipate, and continued to stop the wind of Fengxu with the only upper body. Swap again. The 2 fragmented Buddha statues of the upper body finally turned into ink and the blood on the ground. At the end of Fengxu's battle, there was a shock of the channel over the passage. Without waiting for Fengxu's body to move, the shadow bodies who were slaughtered around were rushing over. After a while, a group of shadow avatars rushed out of more than a dozen injured dark ninjas and Sakai. As for the broken hand Chodao ninja, it was already dead in the channel. As soon as he came out, the dark ninja, headed by the head, hurried to the front of Fengxu and explained it. Master Vortex Wind, we are the dark part of Naruto, not your enemy. Come here is also to protect your companions, Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. Also, please lift your hands, otherwise you can't explain it. With a threatening virtual momentum, the wind couldn't help but glance at the dark part of this head. The cold and chills brought out of the eyes made the dark part headed like falling in the ice cave, and the body became a little stiff. After a while, Fengxu took his eyes back and said lightly, "Isn't it an enemy? Don't you say it? You have to see 3 generations of Naruto with me." During speaking, a familiar golden chakra-spicked rope appeared. For a moment, everyone's hands were penetrated and blood was sprinkled with blood again. At the same time, the miserable loudness also sounded one after another. "Ah. What do you do? Aren't you afraid of the punishment of Lord Naruto?" Fengxu laughed and was too lazy, holding the rope in his hand, like pulling a group of pigs, cattle and sheep, rushed towards the channel quickly, and hit the gravel and came to the outside. The sudden pull of this pain sounded again, as the shadows of Sasuke and Sakura were followed by behind them. Fengxu was aimed at the root base in front and stretched out his index finger. Suddenly, the scarlet chakra and the blue chakra started gathered. Soon, a horrible black ball with all the momentum. Looking at the condensed tail beast Jade, the wind whispered lightly, and his fingers bounced out. "To Onzang Ape Flying Sun, this is the first interest. Call out." The tail beast Jade brought out a airwave passage in the air, and the bottom channel was rushed into the bottom. The next second, the fiery sun comes.